You're still telling the story.
What the writers
specific.
So you don't have the Shatner effect.
Yeah, yes.
Yes.
What the writers and the actors do when they do it well, people are like, oh my God, I can't believe how you mix and blah, 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 and audio, blah, blah. And I just sit there and shake my head and go, I have no idea how these guys do what they do. It's insane. Okay, you don't even know what you're doing. You've been here for 3 minutes. You had a coffee and a bagel. Go in the booth, pour your heart out, be in sync, and you've never seen the animation before. Beep, 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 talk. That's like, it's amazing that anything ever happened well. But with all this new stuff, it's one of those things where you like talk to an old boxer and something's changed, and the old boxer says, yeah, thinking back on it, I'm glad my career ended when it did. I couldn't have survived in the way they do it now. It would have driven me nuts.
I had a long conversation with somebody from Funimation a couple of weeks ago, and they were saying when I was writing for anime, we used to have a week and a half, 10 days, sometimes even 2 weeks per episode, and I would spend 40 hours on a 22-minute episode writing it because you go one frame at a time, and you have to put in little cues for the actors so that we make sure that we match all those lip flaps. These guys would turn them around, a 22-minute episode in 24 hours, sometimes 48 if they're lucky, because of the simuldubs. And you had to do it to stay on schedule. And some of these younger writers would stay up all night or 2 nights in a row to get it done, and then he spoiled them. And they realized, oh, this is possible. We don't care what you have to go through to get it done, but we know it's possible, so now we want it all that way. And then Japan is very, very fearful of spoilers and their intellectual property getting out. So they, even if they have the information and the tracks available to give them a little more lead time, they're not going to give that up because they're so afraid.
And the licensing is so much different in Japan compared to here. Where here in the United States, we license the entire property. In Japan, you can have the intro licensed by one company. You can have stuff through the animated, the voicing that's licensed. In the end, you could have 5 or 6 licensings that you've got to go through, and that's the reason why a lot of times stuff doesn't actually show up here in the United States as quick because of that.
Well, my wife was contacted. I think it's Funimation that's doing the new chunk of Code Geass because she worked on the original Code Geass, and they contacted her about writing, and she just flat told them, "I take 10 days an episode. That's not up for discussion. If you want my name on the title, then it's 10 days an episode." And I would watch her write this stuff at home, and I'd walk down the hall and hear a line she's working on, and I'd go do something, make dinner, wash some dishes, I don't know, run around the block, come back in, she's still working on that same damn line, and I'm like, good Lord, woman. And
it's great. It's a great job for the obsessive compulsive, because I'd wake up at 3 a.m. going, I figured out how to make that plosive work, and go back to the computer and finally, fine tune it and get it so that it's perfect. And
well, it gives us an opportunity to really care about the characters, especially if we know who's cast for those characters. We know how their pacing is. We know what their delivery is. When I was writing for Trigun, it was Johnny Young Bosch's first voiceover role. He had just come out of Power Rangers, and I was a Power Rangers fan. I thought, this is so cool. I get to write for a Power Ranger. But it took me 2 or 3 episodes to really learn his pacing, and once I did, I wrote very, very specifically for him. So I wanted to take that extra time, and I would take 10 days to 2 weeks to do it.
Mary said the same thing. She goes, once she knew it was you doing Motoko, she's like, I'm not just writing Motoko, I'm writing Motoko for Mary Elizabeth. I know her cadence, her delivery, her timing. And she would say that about all the actors and all the scripts. Is like, you have to know who's doing the role, otherwise it's just words and lip flaps.
Exactly, and everybody uses different words, that's what the whole character is. How you present yourself vocally is so descriptive of who you are as a person. So if you're just doing direct translation, this is what they said. The key to creating great characters is to figure out how they would say it. Hannibal Lecter is going to talk a lot differently than Winnie the Pooh, it's very different.
You heard it here first.
Oh my, hello Clarice. Let us know those labs stop screaming, won't you?
And that takes time too. That takes time for a writer to get to know the characters and to really get in there and flesh out a character through your words. I mean, Shakespeare was great at that. Suit the action to the word to the action. Now it's suit the actor to the word and the word to the actor. And it really makes a difference. Because Miley Flanagan has a much faster cadence than, than Kate Higgins, for instance, you know? So you've got to, or Bo Billingsley, you've got to, I would imagine, I know Johnny has a very fast cadence. And you've got to add words. You got to make sure that I'm talking really fast as I'm writing this because I know that Johnny has a really fast way of speaking. Whereas Bo Billingsley as Jet has a much slower pace, and that adds to the character. Why is this character talking so slowly? For what purpose? So there's this whole like detective thing for writing well, I think, and adapting.
Yep. Well, and that's the thing that like, we talked a little bit about yesterday's thing is a lot of people don't get with the voice acting for the United States side. The voices are going directly with the animation, and then you have this whole ADR side coming from Japan that you have this whole that people don't even realize happens in the industry to get it to the point where it isn't. Oh no, it's Godzilla, right? And people don't grasp that until you really listen to people like you come out and say, hey, here's the things that we have to go through. I'd love if I was a voice actor, I probably would love to have an English character, English done rather than a Japanese side done, because it's so much more work on that side to even just spin it out.
Oh yeah, it's one frame at a time. When you're writing that, it's literally one frame at a time.
And also,
you obsess over those lines. You're just like, that's not working. I'll go out, eat some dinner. That's not working. That's not working. That's not working. What's on Netflix tonight? That's not working.
29.97.
29.97 frames per second. One frame.
20. What's it? That was 24.
24 is film. So if you're working to film, you're working at 24. If you're working to video, it's 29.
Well, we all learned something today. But anyway, it's 24 frames per second. We go one frame at a time, times 22 minutes for an episode. So do that math.
What Mary was talking about, the cadence. So once you figure out, oh, this actor, Johnny, speaks more quickly. So that's how you write. Unfortunately, part of the mechanics of that is the animation doesn't care. It didn't change because Johnny wants to speak quickly. So when you're writing and directing this stuff, then you figure out how do we, in an acceptable manner, put two words in one lip flap. Because we know he's going to do it that way. We can't go back in and go, well, he's going to speak fast, so let's do this to the lips. No, the lips are still doing that. So then there's the mechanics and the science of cheating, but cheating in a manner that still looks acceptable because there's two words in a single lip flap, but that second word finishes exactly where it's supposed to. The first word starts exactly where it's supposed to, and nobody knows that you just dropped multiple words in a single mouth flap because it looks fine. So that's another thing they have to deal with in the writing and the dubbing in the booth and beep, 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 now put two words in that one.
Yeah, well, and the actor has to finesse that in the booth no matter how the writing is done too. So you might have a line like, we have to go over there. And, you know, in the way we speak, it would all be in one linear thing. In the Japanese, it would be, we have to, and then the mouth just hangs open, go over there. And we have to make that sound normal. So we'd have to finesse it like, we have to go over there. And it works. But that's how we finesse through that stuff.
Otherwise, everyone sounds like
Shatner.
Bill Shatner. See you, space. Cowboy.
It's Spock was my friend.
Boyfriend. Oh, friend.
Just a humble bounty hunter.
We should actually run a senpai chit chat where your entire hour you have to actually talk like Shatner.
I would have no problem with that whatsoever. Take off your pants.
You know, he actually came into my back door once. Shatner did. No, I'm sorry. That didn't.
Is this the over 18 panel, Rick?
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how Les Claypool got into the industry.
There's no way I'm going to top that, but I'll try to save myself here. The studio's back door. He pulls up in a limo. His driver gets out, rings my doorbell. I walk out, and I'm like, oh, hi. He goes, yes, I have Bill Shatner here. He's here for a shoot. He was doing, what commercial company does he? Geico or whatever the hell it is. He's here for the film shoot, and I'm like, oh, that's actually next door in this, Mary's stage. He's over there. I go, I mean, he's welcome to walk through the studio, and I can take him over there. And I lean in, and Bill's just sitting there looking, and I wave to him, and he's kind of like wondering why I'm waving to him. And I tell his driver, I go, he goes, oh, no, well, I'll take Bill around the block, and he'll come in the proper door, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, so, yeah, there's my Bill Shatner story.
You don't have sushi on the side of the building. I can't work like this. I'm sorry.
I directed him for 8 hours. It was a love fest. I loved him. He loved me. It was so much fun and awesome because the client wasn't there, and he had to do this. Should I say it? He did this thing called Puss in Boots, and he walked in and said, "I'm not going to do a cat's voice. My voice coming out of a cat would be ridiculous. I'm working on a cat voice." And I was like, "Okay, I'm pretty sure they hired you for you and your voice and everything else." And he said, "No, this is what I'm going to do." And I was like, "All right, well, let's get you in the booth," because I'd heard.
Yeah.
But he was wonderful and charming, and it was actually a really, really fun day. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
All right, well, that's our time up for this hour. Thank you guys so much for your time.
Thank you for coming.
For having us.
We're going to be all signing afterwards, so
We'll be signing right there.
I know we didn't have time for questions and stuff, but Steve and I are doing a panel at
2, I think, right? Is it 2
Something
o'clock?
like that.
Yeah.
2 o'clock, and we'll do lots and lots of questions. at
Yeah,
that
it's
one.
a full Q&A, so
Yeah.
you guys get to talk more than we do. So
And
please.
if you aren't sticking around for the autographs, please stay in your seat. I'll let them go ahead and get off stage, and then we'll get you guys coordinated on how we're going to do the line and stuff.
Yeah.
It's going to be in this
Right
room
over
back
there.
here on the left-hand side.
Yeah, the Q&A will be right here, so
Right
if you
here.
guys just want to hang, we'll play
Yeah.
some D&D, talk about building warlocks, whatever y'all want, y'all.
And I have to pimp my panel because that's my job. After them, in this room, I'm doing Adventures in Dubbing, going over, it's a PowerPoint going over 25 years of insanity. So that's after them.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
coming,
Thank you, guys.
Mahalo.
And we had a few not dates, and then finally we realized that we can't be away from each other. So.
Yeah. Because I don't know if you've ever experienced that. You've got someone in your life that means so much to you. And over the years, I would make sure that Steve worked on every project that I worked on because he's just this glowing light of a human being. And you realize that feeds you without taking away from him. So it's just sort of this radiant, it's like the radiant sun, and I become a solar panel and it would feed me. So I would just I would cast him and stuff over the years. Like we're doing Wolf's Rain and it'd just be like, who should Lord Darsha? I was like, Steve Blum. Yeah, Steve Blum should play that. Okay. Well, now that Zabu's arc is sort of done on Naruto, who should we get for a Orochi? Steve Blum. Probably got Steve Blum. But it got to a point where the window did open for us to be together, and it's like, what if it doesn't work? What happens to this? Like, if we screw it up, then I can't stunt cast you anymore because it'll be awkward and weird. But it was such a risk, I think, for me, definitely, because I can't not have you in my life.
Oh my God. We need to get a room, sorry.
Yeah.
No, it was a big risk because we know all the same people, we work in the same circles, and we were friends, and I didn't want to screw up that friendship either.
Yeah.
I respected her as a director first, and she taught me a lot. She was one of my teachers in the very beginning, so to get to actually be with somebody that you respect and you really like as a friend, and we still get to work together all the time. We work together on Star Wars Rebels and
Resistance. I directed you on?
Yeah. So
Entangled.
Entangled, yeah, she directed me on Tangled, so we still work professionally too, and it's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
But
So here, the lesson for me is, especially after now discovering D&D, because I did a little stint on Critical Role for a while as Zara, is that you're never too old to do anything. You're never too old to follow a dream. You're never too old to fall in love. Don't ever think that it's over or that you'll get to an age and you're just like, I am now going to stop learning and stop living. You're never too old. I'm at 52 years old and I am living a life that is so full and so creative and so wonderful. So don't ever think, oh man, I'm just too old to do anything. You're not. That's other people's perceptions of yourself. Keep your perception young and you'll always live a fun and happy life. That's what I think.
exactly. Yeah, I didn't start doing voiceover full time until I was 40 years old.
2 years ago.
Yeah, I wish it was 2 years ago. I'm an old fart now. Yeah, but I never thought that I could even do this as a full-time career, and because of you guys, I'm able to. So thank you for giving us careers. I mean, it's amazing that we get to do what we really love every day for our gig. So anyway, at the last couple panels we didn't have a lot of time for questions. So we wanted to make this your panel and make this a full-on Q&A. So if you have a question, just shoot your hand up in the air. Right here.
What are you guys' thoughts on the Cowboy Bebop remake?
What are our thoughts on the Cowboy Bebop remake? I can't wait! I can't wait! I'm so excited! I'm so excited! I mean, I felt that way for the Ghost in the Shell movie too, because even if it's not the same, and it won't be the same, it can't be the same, so we all have to release all expectation and anger and possessiveness of what was precious to us, because that's still there. The Bebop series is still there, it's never gonna change, and if you hate that one, you can always go back to the one that you love. But what it will do, hopefully, even if they reimagine it, is open it up for a whole new generation of fans for the series, for the characters, and I just hope they tell a good story. That's it, I just want them to tell a good story.
Yeah, and the nice thing now is that they've got the technology to pull off that world.
Yeah.
Back when they were talking about doing the Cowboy Bebop movie, live action, Keanu Reeves was attached to it. I actually met him in an airport, and everybody's going, "Oh man, I don't know if he's going to be right for that." It was all the same conversations about it. And after I fanboyed myself almost into a coma meeting him, I said, "Dude, I played Spike in the show," and he goes, "Oh, I know your work. I just watched the whole thing." And I went, "Oh my God, Keanu Reeves knows me." And I said, "Oh, well, what's going on with the movie? How do you feel about this, dude? What is your take on it?" And he goes, "I'm a fan of the series. I've watched it several times over. I love this thing. We've got an amazing script. It's just going to cost $500 million to produce." And he wanted to do his own stunts. And he said, "By the time we get this thing greenlit and funded, I'm going to be too old to do my own stunts." That was his big concern, because he wanted it to be really true to the original. And he wanted to throw in some of the Bruce Lee moves and all that stuff. Now that Netflix is going to be doing this thing as a TV series, they got Netflix money, and they got the technology to do it. John's show is amazing. I think the cast choices are going to be super interesting for this thing.
It is a corgi for Ein, it's not a husky.
It is a
That
corgi.
was a rumor.
Yeah, we just hope they give us cameos on it.
I know. I want to be the voice of the Bebop really badly.
Yeah.
Really badly. Or have us all, like the whole cast in a diner that, Spike ends up blowing, or Faye and Spike end up like blowing away or something. So that would be really fun. I think it would be.
I'd love to do like a voiceover for it, just for like the epilogue or something at the end of the series or the beginning, or narrate every episode so I get a lot of money out of it. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Or even be like one of the old guys that flew the planes.
Oh yeah.
You didn't do that. And one of those dudes, because now I'm old enough to do that. So.
But I can't wait. Are you guys excited to see it? Yeah. I mean, you got to give it a shot. I mean, we can't all, because there are so many new and wonderful stories out there yet to be told. But of course, it's Hollywood. They're going to bank on something that they know is successful. So more and more and more remakes. How many Spider-Man movies have there been? So we sort of have to, from my vision, I see it like I embrace it, and we'll give it a shot. And I want it to succeed, because I love the original material so much that I don't want it to get like a bad taste in people's mouths, because it was like, it was a terrible series. I want it to be good, and I know it'll be different, so I'm all up for it. It's like one of my favorite Stephen King books is It, and the miniseries was fun and great, but I love the new movie because they reimagined it to put it in the 80s, but it still hits on all the points of the book, so I don't mind modernizing or reinterpreting stuff at all.
3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Boom!
Let's do it.
You had a question, yeah.
Yeah, I was actually just going to bring up that, I'm actually not into much of the newer anime, but I have noticed how everything after the show called Soul Eater came out, everything looks exactly like that. Everything is literally...
Oh, it looks like Soul Eater?
Yeah, the characters look exactly like that. I mean, everything.
Huh.
It's weird.
I was just commenting on how all the new anime sort of looks the same, but
Yeah, it almost looks like it's copy and paste. It actually is kind of not cool.
I disagree.
Well, then we need more animators out there to put in some, new styles of stuff.
Yeah,
and-
we have an
and new
animator right here.
designs.
Yeah. So you designed something cool and new and different.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll be looking forward to that.
Well, come at
Thank
guys
you.
then. Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
100%.
please do.
Everything goes through phases. You remember the old Hanna-Barbera, everything looked the same.
Yeah.
And then you do the Saban stuff and all that,
Yeah.
sort of looked the same for a while. So
Yeah, it's just a cycle.
Like
It's a cycle. We'll cycle through.
Well, I grew up in the Samurai Champloo, like I told Mr. Bloom earlier, Samurai Champloo, Afro Samurai. It's
Yeah.
awesome because everything's different, and,
Yeah.
and the imagination and it's the true. I guess you could say it's a craft, the
Yeah.
art that the actual artist put into it. You appreciate that as a fan watching it. You appreciate
Yeah.
the hard work that you see.
Yeah.
Especially as a construction laborer myself, when I get to look at the project I've finished, it's just so self-gratifying to me.
Yeah.
And then when I see all this copy and paste stuff, it's just it hurts because where's the individualism? Where's the true heart behind everything?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yep, keep making
Yeah.
those stories. Then keep keeping those original ideas coming.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's not our fault, by the way. We're not.
Oh no!
gonna- Yeah, I know.
Love you guys. Love you guys.
We're just the voice monkeys, right here, sir.
Hey, Chris.
If we could visit any of the universes that we've played in, which one would it be? Man, I don't know. Oh, that's a tough one. I have to think about that for a second.
I think I'd have to go selfish and find a wormhole like Jodie Foster in Contact and see them all. Like I really do. Like if I can save enough money someday to get on Virgin Galactic and see the planet from space, I will do that. There's a documentary out there, it's all the astronauts and people who've been on the space station and Buzz Aldrin, and it talks about what seeing the planet from above actually does to your perception and how it affects how you look at the world and other people around you every day. And I want that level of consciousness someday. But if I could, like, I don't know what happens after where we shuffle off these mortal coils, but I just hope I get shot through the universe, so I get to see everything that the Hubble has been, taking pictures of all these years. I want to see them all. I would love to see them.
Yeah, what she said. I don't know. I kind of like the Star Wars universe. I want to see what Lyrasan looks like, honestly, because if you guys have you seen Star Wars Rebels, you guys? Well, at the end of that, my character Zeb goes off to a planet where his people have populated with a guy who they went through this really difficult situation together. There's a lot of fan fiction about the two guys, so enjoy that, for those of you who enjoy that. But we never got to see what that planet looked like, so I would love to go down to Lyrasan and see what my people look like when they're all together, and I'm not the only one. It's very lonely.
Nice.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Nice.
What was the favorite part of doing Ogren from Dragon Age? Probably just the lines he got to say. One of the things that was really fun recording him was that Ogren was usually drunk. So there were a few sessions there where they just told me to do it drunker. And they actually brought booze into the studio and they offered it to me, and I said, guys, this is going to go so far south, you will have nothing usable. But my favorite, he had a few lines that I really loved. One of them, which I say to my kids all the time, is "Fart me a lullaby." I love that. And then "Misery, vomit, and malt liquor reminds me of home." I love that. So, and I loved Ogren so much that I actually fashioned my D&D character based on him.
Chabs.
Yeah, Ogren used to call people the A word and then Chabs. And so I named my character Azure Chabs. And he's a dwarf barbarian. Yeah, so, yeah.
So
Lots of
because
fun
he's so
memories.
common, he's like, I would like to rage,
Yeah.
as opposed to...
Yeah, sorry I killed that thing. Oh, extra sorry. Just matter of fact. Awesome.
So fun. So
Guy with the mohawk all the way back there.
Hey, so we were curious, what was your favorite line as Tank Dempsey?
My favorite line is Tank Dempsey. You got dead flesh on my new boots! Kind of love that one. And hoorah! That's always good. All these characters you guys come up with, they're all in that same voice print. It's like I only do one voice. I do other ones too, guys. I love Tank Dempsey. Did you hear the Christmas album that we did?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awful. For those of you who are very religious, you might not want to listen to it, because we take the most beloved Christmas songs and we did them as our characters, and all of it is about slaughtering zombies. So we have like the 12 Days of Christmas, and Nikolai, the Russian character. On the 5th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 6 bottles of vodka. So he sings about vodka, and I say splattering gut bags. I mean, stuff like that. We did a Hanukkah song for Richtofen, who is kind of a Nazi, and he didn't realize it was a Hanukkah song until the end of it. So check that out. It's called A Very Zombie Christmas, and it was not authorized by Activision. We got in a lot of trouble for that. So sorry, Activision. We just did it out of love.
Yeah.
So, what's the most fun you've had as a voice actor? Like, what projects in general do you enjoy working on the most?
Oh, there have been so many. Oh my gosh. Oh man. Yeah, you sorry.
You think about that.
Okay.
You think about what you did.
Think about what you did.
We're the kind of people who really like to find the fun in everything that we do. So all of them are fun in a different way. One of the most fun ones that came to mind right now is a character called Liron from Gurren Lagann. And I came in to read for that thing, and I was reading for Kamina and some of the other characters that are a little closer to what I normally do. And Liron, for those of you who don't know who Liron is, he's this robot mechanic, but he is very comfortable with the way he is, and he wears pink, and he's awesome. And I saw the character picture on the table as they were going through the casting process, and I want to audition for him. They said, oh, no, that's not for you. No, oh, come on, let me try it. So I went into the studio and I went, when you screw it in, give it a hard, manly twist. and the Japanese client was there, and they were all going, the guy who was casting the thing and ended up directing it, Tony Oliver, is this Shakespearean-trained, wonderful classical director and actor and singer. And he goes, oh, God, now I got to direct him doing this. And so it became my mission to make him as uncomfortable as I possibly could. So for every line that you hear Liron doing, know that there's a filthier alternative line to it that will never see the light of day, that made Tony squirm so much he felt like he had to wash at every break. So that was a giant victory for me. It was so much fun.
I don't know. There have been so many that I have fun there. I know, but it's all fun. It's all fun. What's today's fun? Oh, man. Okay, well, it was just announced She-Ra Season 3 is coming at ya. And I got to direct Gina Davis, which was a huge thrill and honor. And what was really great is that she can belch on command. So the two of us would just belch at each other in the session, which was really awesome because it's an important thing. I put it on my resume for years. That
Would you give us a sample?
well, a sec.
Oh, come on, do better than that. One more.
Nah.
No, at home she's like,
But you can talk through it. If I had a Diet Coke, I could do it, and
it's amazing, you guys.
I can belch a bit. But anyway, so that was really fun. And it's just, voiceover is an amazing thing because it's just you and the producers and an actor and an engineer. So it's this really intimate setting, and they just come in, and like Diane Keaton will be like, oh, I felt your boobs when we hugged, you know? So it's just, yay! I mean, it's just this weird, wonderful, where people are completely themselves and they don't have to pretend, or like there's no paparazzi, there's no anything in it. It's just a fun session of play. And if they don't feel that way, then I try and make them feel that they can just come in and absolutely play and play and play and play. But some of my favorite stuff has been with you because nobody can sync profanity like Steve. I mean, he does outtakes that sync perfectly to picture, especially doing Orochimaru. It was just so nasty and wonderful.
It actually syncs better when I'm saying dirty words. I don't know why.
Yes, and it was all about
Sasuke. I would leave little presents for Yuri Lowenthal.
And for Crispin too.
For Crispin Freeman.
Yeah, for Crispin Freeman. Crispin Freeman and I would leave filthy little presents for each other, and our characters' voices matched perfectly to sync. So the engineers would play it as the first thing we walk in the booth. But we do that for each other too.
Yeah. Melissa Fahn gave us a great, as Ed from Cowboy Bebop. They're kids here, so I can't do the whole thing, but it was yippee-yi-oh-ki-yay! She went so high, and I was just, So I still have that I got a whole reel of bloopers.
Dogs were howling. It was amazing.
Yeah. I love when people swear in their characters. It makes me so happy. Because I'm from New Jersey. I got a sailor's mouth, so, it's a good thing.
Pick another one.
Pick another one. Yeah.
Hi, John.
Oh, hello, darling. How are you? Are there any critters here? Any people watch TV? Yes.
Yes. Explain what that is first.
I tail
What's
whip
Critical
all of
Role?
you with my tail in the butt. Critical Role is a bunch of nerdy-ass voice actors on the internet playing D&D every Thursday night for 4 hours. It's 3,000 years of content, and it's some of my best friends, our best friends in the world that are doing this, and they brought me on to play this crazy tiefling warlock called Zara Hydrus, and I ended up killing an adult white dragon named Rhymefang, and it was just one of the most. I woke up the next day like, I slayed a dragon! I slayed a dragon! Like, there's nothing more empowering than getting together with your friends and problem solving, immediate problem solving. And you have to go with whatever the dice says. It's like, I go to kill a dragon, and it says, no, actually, you just fart, and that's all you do. So,
Stab yourself in the eye instead
Yeah.
if you roll badly.
met some of my greatest friends. Will Friedle is now my brother. I love him so much, and he's in our home group, our home game, and I love D&D. So did you have a question, my darling?
Yes.
Yes.
As Heidelin, can you tell us anything about Shadowbringers?
I can tell you nothing about Shadowbringers,
But you are, right?
because there's a chip in my head that will explode if I do. No, I can't even confirm or deny whether or not I'm in it, because they get very possessive, and they should. It's their product. They should be able to launch it, as it were. But the minute anything is, we get the okay, yay or nay, then of course I'll say stuff.
Since you can't answer that question,
Yeah.
how do you like playing Heidelin?
I love playing Heidelin. It's strange to come in and do video games, because normally you come in, and if you're just in it for a short period of time, you don't get to read the script. They didn't show me a huge crystal or anything when I walked in and said, "You're playing this?" I'm like, oh, that's awesome. So it's just sort of in a void. So and it's a short session. You go in, you do your lines, and then a year and a half later, it comes out, and people are like, "Yeah, I loved Heidelin," and I said, "Was Heidelin?" Because sometimes they don't even tell you the name. They don't tell you the name of the game, the name of your character. You just go in and sort of avoid, because they really want to protect their entity. They don't want any leaks or anything else. It's a time where everything is leaked out to the internet. So I had no idea what it was until it came out, and I actually got to see it, and I thought, oh, that's amazing. That's really cool. So yeah. Thank you.
Okay, right here.
Okay. What is the absolute weirdest thing your dungeon master has said when you make a critical fail? Oh, the absolute weirdest command that he's had you do when you fail an action.
Oh man, I don't remember.
Our game is in the Sword Coast, so we've got a Viking situation happening in our world, and
I don't remember. We haven't really failed a lot in that game.
There haven't
We've
been
actually been
too
pretty lucky.
we get seasick all the time. I end up,
Yeah.
we're on a boat.
There's a
and
lot of
we're on a
vomiting.
boat, and we have to. We've got to do basically a nausea check. So, and for some reason, my character always fails, and it's just like you are throwing up the entire time on your ward named Luke, who's so.
Yeah, but my character collects bodily fluids, so it's always a bonus for him every time somebody else gets sick. I don't think I've really gone through anything terrible.
No. When
Luckily.
I was
Now I'm
playing
gonna jinx that.
a
I'm gonna roll
wild
nothing but
sorcerer, I
ones.
did have to wear a beard of owl feathers for an entire campaign, which was really fun, actually. Sort of woke up and go, and what's all this then?
We have lost limbs in the past and stuff like that, but yeah, I don't think there's anything. Usually it would be something like I'm gonna try to swing the axe and kill some horrible creature, and I end up like stabbing myself in the stomach. I mean, something just dumb.
Yeah.
So yeah, there really hasn't been anything terrible yet. Now,
Because it's not a very silly campaign. It's a pretty serious
yeah, for the most part.
campaign. Yeah, we're all stupid and silly in it,
We are.
but
Yeah, I have my love interest is a pig named Gladys. Well, giant. Yeah, I won't go any further.
Don't
yeah.
do it.
Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad.
Ixnay on the egg
Yeah,
pig.
yeah. But she's very lovable.
More tentacles, yes.
Okay.
No more
Did
tentacles.
you have a question? You know what? You had a question first, and then I'll take yours after. Go ahead. Fire away.
Hi, Sage. Hi. How old were you guys when you How old were you guys when you changed your voice?
When my voice changed, how old are you now, Sage? 7, okay. I think my voice got really deep when I was about between 11 and 12. And then I pretty much had this voice since then. So I was this little tiny thing with a very deep voice, and I've had it for a long time. A long, long time.
Yeah, I was 4 years old when I started talking. Hi, Mom. What's for dinner?
May I have a Twinkie, please?
Now, my voice dropped when I was probably 11 or 12. It was pretty early, too. And it worked really well for me because I was bullied a lot. And so when my voice dropped, I could hide behind corners and I could scare the bullies because they thought it was some adult yelling at them. So, go back to class. Then they beat me up at recess again, but it was cool for that moment.
I'd use it to go and try and buy beer. My grandfather was English, so I'd always walk in and go, "Hello, could I have some Amstel Light, please?" He'd be like, "Yeah, can I see some ID?" I'm like, "Darn it!" You know. But every now and then I'd get away with it when I was a kid.
Okay, you had a question, Ray?
Yeah. Do you have a favorite line from Megas XLR? And could you say monkey thing?
Chicks dig giant robots. Monkey thing! Nice. Thank you for watching that show. I love that show. That was awesome. All right, you pick one then.
How about this side of the room? Yeah. Standalone Complex. Oh, that's coming out. Yes. I hope I'm involved. I really do. I know Netflix. The fact that Watanabe is. Oh no, that's. I just hope I'm involved. I hope they tell a good story. I hope I play Motoko, but I know I probably won't. I don't know. I think they'll probably reimagine it. I think they're probably going to get celebrities to come in and voice it. I hope that's not the case, but I also hope that if they do, that they put someone at the helm that knows the material. Anybody from Netflix out there? Currently unemployed.
Director for hire.
Director for hire. I work for food.
Don't tell them that.
I work for ramen.
But you said you'd work for food.
I know, but I need the money to pay for it. Yeah, I hope it's good. I can't wait to see what kind of style it's going to be. If it's 2D, if it's CG, I don't know. Have you seen any artwork or anything for it?
No, I heard it's in 3D though.
In 3D. Num 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 num. Yeah, it'll be great. I hope so. I think Netflix is doing some amazing stuff. It's one thing. I don't know how people come up, have you seen this new show? And I'm like, where do people find the time to watch? There's so much content out there. I mean, even just on HBO and Showtime and all this stuff, and then Netflix and Amazon Prime and Hulu, and it's amazing. I don't
know how to do it either.
I don't know.
Okay, in the green, you had your hand up?
Sure.
Why not both?
Oh. Cats.
I like them equally. I have both. And I love fish, too.
Yeah, we've got fish.
We
just had babies.
Oh, yes,
we
they
just
do.
had babies, y'all.
They do things. They have babies. That's what they do. My fish, they're actually really interactive. I have a tank full of African and South American cichlids, and it's a 170-gallon tank, and it starts like here and it goes really high.
With a curve.
And they come up to the front and they follow my finger and they kind of rub up against the glass like I'm petting them. They're actually really awesome, and they do make a lot of babies. So they do things. Yes.
Yeah, we got 2 catfish from one litter, or 2 different litters, moose and squirrel, and then we just discovered, like, I put in a shell, with the shells and crystals all throughout the tank because it's pretty, and I put in this one conch, and it's filled with little itty bitty baby fish that come out and we're like, go back in, their big ones are gonna eat you know?
Yeah. I just hope the dogs and cats don't take a clue and start making other babies. Because that I think it's okay.
I think they're fine. Yeah, they're brothers.
Okay, you pick the next person.
Yeah. Oh yeah! Happy Mother's Mother's Day.
Mother's Day,
Shout out
mamas.
to all the mamas out there tomorrow.
What is the most like heartwarming moment at any convention you've had? For me, it's with my fiance. We watched Cowboy Bebop 13 years ago together and absolutely loved it. It's the reason why we're here today because we wanted to meet you guys. That's what brought us together. And so I just want to know like what other moments is your favorite at that convention?
Ooh, I'll say two. One was in Vegas, and this young man and a woman came up, and the man just turned and said, I really wanted to meet you so that I could do this, and turned, got down on one knee and proposed to the young woman, and we all cried and cried and cried and cried and cried. But I think for me the most touching is when I meet the veterans that have come back, or active duty who just happen to be on leave, and they'll come and say, I was in Afghanistan and the only thing that got us through the nights was watching Cowboy Bebop or Ghost in the Shell or playing the Ghost in the Shell games or whatever it is. And for me that's really touching and moving because it makes me feel like we are making a difference, and we're helping keep people's hopes alive and so thank you to any active or veterans out there, active military.
That's
because,
awesome. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much, you guys. It means the world.
Yeah, that one broke me. We've had a lot of veterans that, especially Afghanistan, that seem to be a lot of people from Afghanistan who told us they would come back to the tent after some horrific day in battle and play Call of Duty with their friends, which seemed counterintuitive to me. Fighting, but they said that that's what they would be doing if they're home, and that's where the camaraderie comes with their buddies, and that's what made them feel normal again, and that tore me up. So many moments like that. There was one earlier today about brothers who would watch together, and I don't want to go into that because you're going to cry and I'm going to cry, and I don't want to go any farther. So that was amazing. Thank you for sharing that. But the thing that really made me realize that we're doing something of value in this in the very beginning was at a convention in New Zealand, and there was this guy who came up to me, and heavily tattooed dude, huge man, he looked like a Samoan guy, and he came up to my signing table, and he had a tear in his eye, and he goes, bro, I gotta tell you, I have a little boy who at the time was 8 years old, and he is autistic, and he would sit and rock in the corner, and he was nonverbal, he had never said a word. We could sort of communicate with him. We kind of knew by eye signs. There was some hand, body language and things that we would use, but he'd never been able to communicate verbally. And then one day he shot out of the corner. There was something on TV. He jumped on the couch and he sat there and he was transfixed to the TV. And I sat down next to him and I said, what are you watching? And the little boy looked over at him and he goes, shh. And he goes, okay, cool. And all of a sudden the commercial comes on and it was Digimon. And the father's just sitting there, not sure what to say to him, and he goes, I like that, Daddy, in perfect English. Like he had been thinking this whole time and just decided to verbalize it right then. There was something about his connection with my character, Guillemon, that unlocked something in his brain, that all of a sudden he wanted to communicate. And the father started crying, I started crying, and he said that it opened up a dialogue between the whole family where they would all sit together and watch. And he started talking to his sister, he started talking to his mother. They got him involved in otaku groups, and all of a sudden he had all these thoughts and feelings about stuff that he had been processing that he was finally able to communicate for the very first time. I was a puddle at the end of this, and the next day I had a long signing line, and I see this guy towering above everybody, like 20 people back, and I said, what are you doing over there? Come here. And he goes, no, I'm going to wait in line. And I excused myself and I ran back there. And he had the boy with him who was at this point 12 years old. And his sister, I think she was a little bit older, and the mom. And we all just stood there crying and hugging. And I had a little conversation with the boy. And I felt like, oh my God, I thought that we were just barking and spitting and farting into microphones. And, it's fun and it's cool, but I'm not doing anything of value. I thought I was going to be a doctor at one point. But I realized this is valuable. This opened up something for this family, and if I have anything to do with that, this is what I'm here for. It's not about being rich or famous or any of that stuff. This is what I'm here for. So, thank you guys for sharing all of your stories, because that's what opens up my heart.
What did I say about a shining light?
Kiki's here.
Is that Kiki back there? Yes, all right. What you got? I love your delivery service. It's so much better than Amazon.
Actually, I have a question for Mary.
Sure.
What was your favorite thing to say from Naruto?
Favorite thing to say from Naruto?
Like a quote.
Ah, Genjutsu. Love casting spells. That was always really fun. That and in the games, Naruto! Just always yelling at Naruto was always fun. Because it's fun to yell at Miley. Miley Flanagan, who plays Naruto, is one of my closest friends. I adore her. And I remember meeting her for the first time. And we just clicked. She's just like, she's from Boston. How you doing? I'm from Boston and everything else. And I'm from Jersey. The minute I hear she's from Boston, I start going into my Jersey accent. And the two of us just knocked it out and together immediately. So I love giving Miley as much grief as possible because she's one of the funniest, most caring people I've ever met. So yelling at her is fun. It's like yelling at Johnny Young Bosch in Code Geass. It's fun. It's fun to yell at the sweet people.
What is Miley's show? Lab Rats?
Lab Rats,
Lab
yeah.
Rats. She's on Lab Rats if you've ever seen that show. She's
Live
really,
action was
she's
so
really,
funny.
really funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't expect that from Naruto. So if you haven't watched that, check it out.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, how about with the red hair all the way in the back there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question for Steve.
Yes.
What was your favorite episode of Megas XLR?
Oh man, I don't know because they all sort of blended in together.
And then, do you wish they would have continued it?
Yes, I do. That's one show that I was really sad we weren't able to continue. And we were ready to go. We really wanted to do more episodes, but Cartoon Network was going through a big change at the time. And the people who were in charge of marketing at that time really didn't know what to do with the show. It wasn't quite anime. It didn't quite fit in with all the other original animation they had. They didn't know how to advertise it. They didn't really know what to do with it. And at that point, they actually, because of all the transition going on, the corporate transition there, they needed a tax write-off. And so they just used the show as a tax write-off. And that's why we can't get the rights back. So it broke all of our hearts because it felt like it was just getting some steam, and it was really a love letter to the anime community and action cartoons and nerd culture. There were so many little nuggets in that show that went over my head. But as I would rewatch it, I go, oh, now I get it. I finally saw that show. Yeah, I got it. Okay. But the guys who created that show, there's such a huge love for what all of us love. And that's the thing that really made it special for me. And I'm still in touch with everybody that created that show. The guy who actually created that show and pitched it to the network, a guy named Chris Pronowski, is the owner of a studio called Titmouse that ended up doing Metalocalypse, and we recorded so many shows with him.
They'll also be doing the Critical Role series at Titmouse.
They're going to be animating the new Critical Role series. So I stay in touch with those guys, and if there's any possibility we can get the rights to that back, all of us still want to do it. So just flood the network with with everything that you can to get that show back. That's how those things happen. So thank you for watching it, though.
Nice. Yes.
How do you feel about the Neon Genesis voice recast?
There was a Neon Genesis voice
I don't know anything
recast?
about it.
Tell us about that. What happened?
Netflix is recasting the voices for the entire Evangelion Neon Genesis cast.
Really?
So, and Netflix is just doing this because reasons. And I wondered what you guys thought about it from the professional standpoint.
Oh.
Well, maybe the people who played the roles originally will get to audition again.
I hope so. Really?
Yeah. I wonder if it's a union issue.
Oh, that kind of breaks my heart. If it's the same show and they're just revoicing it, that kind of breaks my heart. They don't even give the original actors a chance at it. But who knows? We're just the voice monkeys. It's not up to us. And we don't own the roles either. So it kind of makes me sad when they end up doing that. They're messing around with Final Fantasy VII too. Bo Billingsley did Barrett on that, and in the new trailer, that's not his voice, and that makes me really sad because I loved his performance in that. So I don't know. It's we don't have any control over that kind of thing. We just
Unfortunately, when it's a business, it's a cutthroat business sometimes, and that's just the way it is. All we can do is use our voices to speak out against it, and start a Twitter storm or Instagram or whatever you can do, because that's, bless you, that's all the power that we have sometimes. It's all about the money. So it's a shame. I think we have time for just a couple more questions because, yeah.
To go to the opposite of when they asked earlier what were your best experiences or most fun experiences, what was one of the more disastrous sessions you have either had?
Disastrous session. Okay, I got two. I got one. Yeah. Well, there's this guy named Michael Sorich, and I used to record a lot of stuff with him. I think we were doing a show called Battle Beat 'Em On or something. It was some weird little show. And Michael and the engineer would fart a lot in the studio. They would have like fart battles. We thought it was really funny, it was kind of ridiculous, and we were all sort of in on the joke. And one day I wanted to bring my dog to the studio, and he was perfectly house trained and no problems ever. And I bring him into the studio with me. He's laying there, and all of a sudden I smell something. I went, "All right, you left this for Michael. This is great. This is absolute revenge." And then I realized he had taken a big wet crap on the floor inside the studio, and it's this little teeny tiny studio. And they said they couldn't get the smell out of there for like 6 weeks. So I didn't get to come back and record anymore there, and I couldn't figure out why. Yeah, you want to go? And I just forgot what my other one was. Go ahead.
No, it's farting. I
it's
like
all
when
about
people,
farting?
and it's usually all about bodily fluids and farting. I've had 2 women go into, it's not the worst thing by any means, but it's unique. I've had 2 women go into labor, 2 different women at 2 different series, but their water has broken the water broke during the session. So that's been fun, because that makes me panic. I'm just like, "What? We need to get you to the hospital right now." And I was like, no, I'm fine. We can continue. I'm like, seriously? It's like, yeah, do you have paper towels? I'm like, okay, sure.
Got a catcher's
Go with
mitt,
it,
something? Yeah. My other one that I thought of there's so many, but one of them I was auditioning for a Spider-Man game as one of the villains. I don't even remember which villain it was, and I was screaming for this thing. I went, "Ah!" And all of a sudden I started blacking out, and I hit the mic stand apparently, and then I ended up on the floor. I passed out, and I didn't realize that I had passed out, and the engineer and the director come in, and they said, "Are you all right?" And I said, "Oh, I think I almost just passed out." And they said, "No, dude, you passed out. Are you all right?" Like, it gets worse. So a few months later, I'm in another recording studio on another project with another director, and she goes, "Oh, wait, before we start, I got to play you something." And they had recorded the whole thing. And they're passing this around thinking it's the funniest thing. "This is when you passed out, dude." I didn't even know they knew each other. Yeah, and so that recording is still out there somewhere. That's pretty bad. But the good news is I didn't book that role, but I booked another role in the game, so winning.
Are we almost out of time? I know
have
we
time for
started
3 more?
late, but I know Les has got his panels. Let's do a lightning round of 4 more questions.
Yeah.
Yes.
What cosplay? I've seen your Bebop cosplay. What cosplay would you 2 do if you had option? Even if you didn't have to sew it, what would you 2 do?
Oh, I'd love to play the Crusader in Diablo 3 that's, fully mech'd out with all the epaulets and that giant shield. And yeah, I'd want to be Johanna.
Yes, as long as it had air conditioning inside. Grunt from Mass Effect.
Okay, yes.
What was your favorite line as Major Kusanagi?
As Major Kusanagi, what was my favorite line? Oh, the net is vast and infinite.
Nice.
Because it is. And it doesn't lie, ever. Everything's real on the interwebs. Yes.
All the way in the back.
In the back with a beard, with your hand up.
You, sir, yes.
Yes, sir.
Not so much a question, but Mary, I just wanted to say thank you, because Outlaw Star really, I think, defined who I am as a man today. And it got me through an abusive household, through in high school, and thank you very much. I appreciate
Come
everything.
up here and give me a hug.
I was going to make some snarky remark like, dude, she's taken, but how can I? It's beautiful. That was just beautiful. This is why we do this, you guys. Oh my God. So we should, are we out of time? Yeah, okay. We're out of time. So we're going to be doing some more signing on the outside here, but Les has... Yes, Les has a con.
Les has a con. He's here at a con. He's got a panel, and he's at a con. Who knew?
Yes.
And then we'll be signing outside, but stay for Les if you can, because we'll be around tomorrow as well. We've got.
I'm looking at our time.
We've got a
here.
panel tomorrow. If we
Stall
didn't
for
get
a
to your
second.
question, I'm so sorry. But if you are here tomorrow, come by, and then we'll have another signing.
11 a.m. we're doing another
11
chit chat.
a.m.
Yeah.
Oh, hungover panel tomorrow morning.
Yes.
Ow,
Thank you guys
ow,
for
ow.
joining us.
Thank
Really
you so
appreciate it. We love
much.
you guys.
Thank you.